So now that everyone's starting to figure out, now that people are making videos and talking about shit that I've been trying to talk about for a while now, that they're using the ETFs to short the price down now that they have run out of actual individual stock to borrow from their brokerages or whatever. So now they're utilizing the ETFs that house the majority of GME and AMC to continue to short the stock. You can see it here because it was somewhere between like the 10th and the 13th that all these new filings came in, all these new margin requirements started being kicked up, and that was another way the price was still holding and rising, was people were buying stock in these ETFs that were helping support AMC while they were just trying to ladder attack the individual stock. And you can look at it, and this is how they just have crushed it down. And this is the IWM, which houses like the vast majority of AMC. And you can just see it. Like everything's good, moving up kind of how it should be. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, ladder attack, boom, ladder attack, boom, just fucking crushing it. Still kind of going up a little bit, but boom, going down. This is where the computers took over. This is where they took over. You can start seeing the patterns in it. This is where the high frequency trading kicked in. This is where they realized people saw what they were doing, and were coming into the stock or trying to buy options in the stock. And, let's go ahead and kick them out and not let them do that. We'll just trade back and forth, higher, lower, higher, lower, 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 higher, lower, 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 higher. And then just kill any options activity in that market. But then you got all this shit. Just boom, 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 boom. And this is like primarily AMC that's in the IWM. And this is how they are continuing to do what they are doing. Look at that. Look at that ugliness. Just bam. Just straight up. Crushing it. Killing it. What a bunch of assholes. Then we had a little run up. Some shorts getting returned. It's not just shorts in AMC getting returned. They're returning them in the ETFs that they're shorting. Then they'll get borrowed, loaned out again. Bam, 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 bam. Just look at it. That is what they are doing. It's what they've been doing. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do or anything. But if you know some things about the stock market and you know what they've been doing to AMC, why it's even in the position it is because of it being shorted the way that it is, and you're waiting for moves up, which they are controlling in a very ridiculous fashion right now. I can't tell you what to do, but things that get shorted, shorts have to be returned. At some point, they've got to be returned. You can only borrow so much. The manipulation can only go on for so long. So, typically your ETFs they're more expensive than most individual stocks, usually, but not always. So just my opinion, because I haven't really broke down the IWM or any of the other ETFs yet. I haven't really actually watched them intraday. I just started pulling them up here lately and just looking at them, on top of each other to see if there were similarities, which obviously there were and are. So I don't know exactly yet where the price levels are on these, where they're bouncing them back and forth to. So I cannot say with any certainty whether this is going to break up from here or head back down still. All I can do is look at what it's looked like since they've started screwing with it. That's really all I can do. And that still seems like it's kind of fresh and new because this is in the area where they started fucking around. Where they started running out of shares to borrow, so they started looking for alternatives, and this is where they realized, oh, we can fucking short the ETFs that they're in. Boom, there you go. And that's how we ended up with this. So I don't know how low this can go in the ETF. I'm looking at this right here where it bottomed out at 214.95 and then had a little bit of a run up. But was that? Yeah, basically over the course of the day. And then immediately just fucking slammed right back down into the ground. Had a little run up early on the next day and then just crushed. Crushed all day, crushed. Wow. So I don't know. There's no way to really read this and be like, hey, this could be another opportunity. I mean, it is more expensive than AMC, but they're shorting the death out of it. That's for sure, and that shit's gonna have to get returned also. So I don't know. I mean, just speculating on things at this point. Again, I'm just gonna have to start keeping an eye on these things intraday, see how they move, see what's what, look at actual time targets, and start figuring out where I can draw some lines on this fucker. Because again, you never know. There's no way to predict this at all. Not the position this stock is in. There's no way to predict anything. Like, you just can't predict anything. You can look for patterns and you can assess timelines and you can just be like, okay, well, this has happened here a couple times. This has happened here. It's not the same as typical, technical analysis, because you can't expect certain movements. Like, there, I guarantee you, like, if you were watching any of your normal YouTubers right here, they would have been like, oh, we're gonna go here, we're setting up for a nice W, gonna go down, probably hit a double bottom, and then we're gonna come back up. And that's literally what I've been watching them tell you guys too. They're looking at their normal technical analysis as if this is a normal stock moving in a normal environment, and it's not. And that's what keeps happening. Everyone's like, oh, there's going to be a double bottom here, and then all of a sudden, gets shoved down even further. Now, if you were to remove all this shorting, if you were to take all of this shorting out and line up all the green candles over time, yeah, you would have bounced here, and it probably would have been looking up here somewhere. But manipulation at its best. That is what is going on. So I'm going to start looking into the ETFs further. And I know apparently some folks have some grievances with Charlie. I do not have grievances with Charlie. Someone wanted me to reassess some of his shit with the ADF. I don't really have a lot of time, guys. Like, I'm in school. I am pursuing a bachelor's and a double major in it, and I'm at a 4.2 GPA that I plan on carrying through this entire program, hopefully up to a 4.3, and then moving into a master's. Like, I'm just studying and whatnot for the majority of my after hours time, and then when the stock market's open, I mean, I'm watching the stock market. That's where my eyes are focused and set. I read a lot of new filings. I educate myself constantly on the market, the ongoings of the market, the rules and regulations of the market, because again, I want things changed. So I'm paying attention to things that are being changed, and Charlie covers a lot of what I look at, what I look into, and he has the time to throw together PowerPoints and try to explain them in, terms that people who may not know anything, about these regulations and these rules and everything, he explains them in a way that are fairly easy to understand. And another reason why I have no issues with Charlie and I love his work is because he's been wrong about some things sometimes. And the moment he's wrong and he realizes he's wrong, he admits that he's wrong immediately. Like he doesn't, at least not yet. I don't know. He hasn't come across yet as a guy who's just trying to, sell you guys some horse shit. He is actually bringing legitimate educational information about the regulators of the stock market. He's bringing it to your attention. No one else does this. Like, no one else as in-depth as he does. The dude live streams for people and puts PowerPoints together in front of you or goes over things in real time. You can't ask for much more than that. He's not a wizard. No one's claiming he's a stock market guru. He's learning, but he's trying to learn and educate himself, which is the same thing I'm doing, and it's what I advise everybody does. Anyone that's an individual retail investor, you have got to educate yourselves. You have to. You got to know what's going on, so that way when you see shit, you can go, you know what, I bet this is going on right here. I haven't got to look into it yet. I saw some crazy filing that like the SEC approved this like a conglomerate of co-shorting between hedge funds, allowing them to co-short ETFs or something. I haven't looked into it for myself yet. I don't know what's going on, if it's 100% real. It came from Reddit. I do not personally even look at Reddit anymore or get much information from Reddit anymore because it's owned by a major media outlet. Citadel even has some ownership in it. So I don't look at none of that shit. I mean, Reddit, you can piece together anything with a few big words, and everyone's like, "Oh, this has to be legitimate because he said a smart word," and it's just not. A lot of shit gets debunked in Reddit, a lot. So I personally prefer to just dig into shit myself. Now, if I see a topic that catches my eye, that sounds like it's along the lines of shit I'm already looking into myself anyway, I may take a peek into it or try to find some more information, see if someone else has already looked into it. But yeah, as far as that goes, I really don't have time to look at a bunch of other things. I know someone wanted me to look at some other stocks and things like that as it sits right now. I mean, I don't mind looking at anything, but I'm not Matt Kors or TMI or Trey or STV or anything like that. Like, I'm not even remotely close to comfortable looking at something. I have friends of mine all the time ask me, hey, what would be good for me to invest a couple thousand and blah, 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 blah. And I immediately tell them, I'm not comfortable telling you that. Like, we need to sit down, have a cup of coffee. You need to tell me what your risk tolerance is, what your expectations are, how long are you expecting to see a return, things like that. Like, every individual person is different. I am different. What I would do is nowhere even near similar to what I would expect anyone else to do. You have your own emotion. You have your own financial responsibility. You know how much money you have, how much you can afford to lose. And again, I'm not you. There is no two people on this earth, even twins, that share the same emotional responses to a set scenario. So I can't really give you guys advice on that. What I can do is try to do what I am doing here, what I'm focused on, answering the questions where people are like, how are they doing this? How are they doing this? I don't understand. And then you got your main YouTubers that aren't telling you guys shit. They're not telling you anything. They're scared to death to lose their channels if they say, well, it's blatant market manipulation, and here I can show you. People are like, can you send this to Trey, send this to Core, send this to them? No. For one, no. No, I'm not going to do that. I actually already tried. I have sat in these guys' live streams 100 times, and because I wasn't sending them my information in a super chat, they just overlooked it. I told them many, many times, hey, flip your AMC and GME on top of each other and look at them. Look at how they're moving today. Look at them. Show this to your audience. And get ignored. So I'm not going out of my way to appease these guys, especially, I mean, I can already tell Matt Kors is a self-taught stock market guy. He is by no means a guru. He lost a shitload of money in options. I watched him lose it. He lost a bunch of his viewers' money by giving them insight into their super chatted option requests and saying, well, I can't tell you what to do, but if it was me, which is fucking the same thing, man. You want to throw hypotheticals out there, you're basically telling them, do this, because this is what I would do, but you're different, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people lost money. And the whole June speculation of the squeeze happening, I never once thought that that was the case. I 100% was hoping it would be like the end of July that we would even see another sharp move upward. Not even totally the squeeze. This could be drawn out over time, people. It could squeeze here a little bit, come back down. Squeeze here a little bit, come back down. I've always had a theory of it being a managed event since June 2nd. We had all these banks doing crazy shit, regulations being put in place. I've just always had a speculation that the government may be stepping in because this would be chaos. I mean, chaos if AMC and GME just fucking ran up. People would be liquidating positions all throughout the market to try to get a piece of this. It would crash the market. It would destroy the economy for a long time to come. Like, it just would. So I've had my speculation on this that it's going to be managed. But that doesn't mean there isn't that I'm right. I still have a speculation that this thing is going to fly. But for how long, I don't know. I mean, you're literally watching the market get controlled. So to just think all the time in your head that, well, when it goes, it's going to go. Not true. You saw it go up to 70 something and then drop back down, which sadly had all your peoples held. If they would have held and not sold off, then fuck, that would have been it. That would have been it. If all those guys held and did not sell off to where that shit dropped down to fucking 40 or under 40, whatever it was, um, this would have been done. They would have had no choice but to cover. We would have been well into the hundreds, making our way to 200, and they would have had no choice but to cover. They would have just had to. The risk management would have kicked in and been like, nope, buy the shit. We ain't even got the time. But greed is, that's a finicky fucker. It can sink its claws into you, and you won't even realize what it's turned you into. So that is what it is. I just wanted to take a stronger or a better peek into the IWM and show you guys, the attacks that are happening throughout this on an individual level. And I'm going to keep an eye on this more closely throughout the day. Um, So, like I said, I'm not telling anyone what to do. I haven't even looked. Ortex and shit doesn't matter to me. That's not accurate information. It's not. Where like Ortex even came out and said, "Hey, we're not accurate information. Hey, there's 100 different ways these guys can manipulate the numbers too." So it's just not accurate. Um, and I'm not going to tell anyone my thoughts on things that I've seen or found or whatever, because I'm not trying to set no one into a frenzy, and I could be wrong. I don't have any verifiable evidence that the numbers I've seen elsewhere are right, too. Like, who knows? Um, but anyway, just wanted to update you guys, let you know I'm looking into the ETFs a little closer. And I'm going to be monitoring them throughout the day. Obviously, still alongside AMC, GME, and all kinds of other things. And whatever I see tomorrow, I'll make a video about it, and we'll discuss it even further, because that's what I'm here for. Deeper dives, due diligence into the actual manipulation of these stocks, into these fucking trading patterns that the computers are using. So that's what I'm here for, to give you the tech side of it, not the this. It's gonna be a George W. I don't know what happened. So stay tuned, I guess. And again, sorry, I know some people want me to reevaluate Charlie's stuff. I don't have time to do it, and I personally believe Charlie is doing a phenomenal job with what he's doing. Whether he is wrong about things or not, he is doing something that no one else is doing, and he is trying to educate the community, and I am behind that 100%. Doesn't matter, like I said, if he turns out to be wrong about some things. He is pretty quick to correct himself, and he's the one looking at these things. He's the one digging into actual regulators, websites, filings, data centers, everything that other people do not look at. So you can't tell him he is wrong. You're not even looking or trying to look at the things he's looking at. So if he forms his own hypothesis, that's his. And if he thinks it's right, then I commend him for believing in it. He's the one that looked at it. He's the one that studied it and trying to bring it to light. If it turns out to be false, then it turns out to be false. And if it does, he will be the first to be like, yeah, I fucked up. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I got excited. I got overzealous. I thought what I was looking at was blah, 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 whatever. So if anyone wants reassessments of Charlie's videos, I can't give you that. I'm not going to, just because I'm a supporter of what he does. And if I had the time, I'd be doing the same thing he's doing. I just don't have that kind of time to throw together, smooth-brained PowerPoints for you guys. So yeah. Oh, and again, I did want to go over one quick thing about how funny it is that these streamers now do not want to talk about Ape Fest. They don't want to talk about it anymore. They want everyone to forget about it. They want all of you guys to forget about it. Don't even talk about it. Let's just move forward. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, that is a tactic called sweeping it under the rug. When you have an involvement in something that did not go according to plan, or people found out about it and now they're pissed, and you have a lot to lose if you were involved in it, that is a tactic called sweeping it under the rug. Because if you weren't involved with it and it upset your community, you would want to talk to your community about it. You'd be like, hey guys, I'm sorry. I looked at this from the wrong viewpoint. I didn't even think to get your guys' viewpoint, which is my fault. I fucked up. I take responsibility for that. And today, let's talk about it. And that's what you do. That is what you do when you have a problem in any relationship. And you notice it and you recognize it, you have to talk about it. It's the only way to fix it. You sweep it under the rug, it just festers and gets worse. And then eventually some shit comes out and you're in even more shit than you were beforehand. So being honest is, for anyone out there, young people, I'll tell you right now, your best bet in every scenario, every single one, is to be honest. Even if it's a scenario where you fucked up and did something wrong, you may lose some people or someone you care about or whatever because you did something wrong. It is better to be honest with it up front. Immediately take care of it then. Because the longer it sits, the worse it gets. And that's just my experience, and I promise you that is solid, solid advice. Just be honest. Just be honest. Better to hurt people for a day than to lie and stretch it out over long periods of time and let that build up to where when they find out, now they have a timeline of, you let me sit here for this long while you did this, making me look stupid, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, be honest, be transparent. These guys now don't want to talk about it. I've already told you what I saw, what I heard, what my thoughts are on it. That's why it was so private. That's why that website didn't have names attached to it, didn't have exact people you could contact. That's why. And that's why these guys don't want to talk about it anymore. Again, bad way to go. Personally, bad way to go. Not the right way to handle this. So, I guess this may be my last video, depending on what comes out later or anything I find. I just finished my schoolwork for the week. So I'm going to look into some things. If I find something interesting, I'll bring it to your guys' attention. If not, I guess we'll be going over some things tomorrow. So, yeah. Oh, and don't be afraid to stand up to your favorite YouTubers either. Don't. I made a mention of that in someone's comment. Don't be afraid to point fingers. If someone, me too, if I say something dumb or something wrong, something I don't agree with, go ahead, point fingers at me. I don't advise it, because I'm a very, very good debater, and I actually use facts and well-rounded opinions that I've thought about for a while, so if you want to point fingers at me about anything, you just better be prepared. Be fucking prepared. Because I may make you look stupid. And I don't want to do that. That's not my goal. Not what I want to do. I'd rather just, coexist with everybody. But if people are saying something you don't agree with, and you have factual information or a well-formed opinion, bring it up. Bring it up. This is your investment, guys. This is your investment. And there are people involved in it that can affect it. And if they're doing something you don't agree with, you have got to let them know. So let them know. All right, guys. I'll catch you later.